If you're thinking about replacing your HVAC system in the near future, I want to share some critical information that I think every homeowner should know about. In this video, we're going to talk about some brands that I dislike and that I like for certain reasons, but we're also going to talk about some different ways that you can save money in replacing your HVAC system that a ton of people simply don't know about. First of all, I want to talk about the two different ways that you can achieve getting a new HVAC system. Number one is you call an HVAC contractor up and you have them do the full job from getting the equipment to installing the equipment, everything from start to finish. They register it and you're good to go. Now with that route, obviously if you're doing none of the legwork, you're going to pay a premium. So just on average, I looked up this information recently, on average in the US to replace your HVAC system, it's about $10,000. So it's about an average of $5,000 for your AC and $5,000 for your furnace. So if you combine those two, you come up with an average about $10,000 for a full HVAC system. Now, a way that you can save quite a bit of money is you can purchase the equipment from a company such as HVAC Direct. You can have it shipped directly to your location, wherever you want it installed. And then you can have a company come in and do the labor and just give you a bid on the labor. All of the equipment is brand new, already paid for. They just have to install it and they can actually register the warranty as well. So we're talking about a savings of maybe $3,000 to $4,000 here. So a pretty good amount. So even if you're not a DIYer and you want to tackle it yourself, you can still save a good chunk of change. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about some specific brands. So if you go that first route and you have an HVAC contractor install your equipment, you can pretty much choose any brand that that contractor is willing to install. So that could be a York system, it could be a Carrier system, it could be American Standard, Trane, it could be Payne, could be Goodman. There's a infinite list of different companies that create equipment. But the reality of it is that there's only so many brands that are actually manufacturing equipment. And depending on your certain area, there's all these sub-brands that are made by the same company, but they're actually that main company. So let's take, for instance, Daikin. Daikin is a really good brand. They also make Amana, which is like their middle of the ground tier, and they make Goodman. So all of those brands are considered a Daikin piece of equipment. Now, if you take, for instance, a Carrier piece of equipment, Carrier is also a really good brand. They make ICP products, they make AirQuest products, they make ACIQ products. They're all basically made by the same company, but they're branded as a different brand. So a lot of people can get confused with all of these different brands that contractors are recommending. But the reality is that a lot of these brands are made by the same mother company, if you will. Now, as an HVAC contractor, I've talked to a bunch of different HVAC contractors in other states and different parts of the US, and I've come to a consensus as far as brands that these contractors who are in it every single day dislike. Some of those brands are Air Ease, Lux Air, Payne. I've had some complaints, it's kind of in the name. But some of the more well-known brands that have had issues are Lennox. They tend to have a lot of QC problems. They're starting to work that out, but they actually had a class action lawsuit. So you might stay away from Lennox. But again, that's just what I've gathered from talking to other contractors. Now, as far as the brands I recommend, if you're having the contractor purchase and install the equipment, I definitely recommend Rheem and Ruud. As you can see, there's not other tiers here. Those are just the two companies that are basically identical pieces of equipment, and they're not like crazy expensive and they're not super cheap. They're in the middle. They last a long time. I feel like they're made really well and I truly enjoy installing that equipment. That's what I primarily install here in Salt Lake City. I used to install Goodman equipment, and I also think that Goodman has a really good piece of equipment. It could be more of a builder grade just by the materials that they use, but overall it doesn't really matter. It still does the job, and I feel like they have a really good piece of equipment. Now, on the higher end of things, if you're having a contractor install it, Trane and American Standard, those are like the top tier, really good equipment, but you're going to spend quite a bit more for that equipment because it's a very reputable brand. Now, if you're going the route of purchasing equipment online, you are going to be limited in what equipment you can purchase. So you can't buy a Trane piece of equipment or a lot of times you can't buy Carrier or Rude equipment online. However, Carrier makes ACIQ. It's basically the same exact product. It's rebadged as ACIQ because in all reality, Carrier doesn't want you to know that it's the same piece of equipment because they don't want it to be marketed to a consumer. They want it to be marketed to the HVAC contractor, and then they want the HVAC contractor to install it. So that's the reality of it. But in my opinion, ACIQ is a really good brand and I highly recommend them. Now, with that being said, if you are concerned about not being able to get the full warranty with your equipment, we do offer remote services at patreon.com/DIY HVAC Guy. And if we help you with any part of your HVAC installation, we can help you get that full 10-year warranty from your equipment that you purchased, no problem. Now, it can be super overwhelming to have all of these different brands here pushed by different HVAC contractors. What's good, what's bad. Don't get hung up on all of these different brands. A lot of these are actually the same equipment. Here is the key. The key is to find a good HVAC contractor that you trust, because you can't simply go by consumer reports. Those are things that maybe one consumer views something really small as bad and they're gonna leave a bad review because of that particular thing. And it could have been just user error. So I wouldn't base stuff off of consumer reports. I would talk to several people, find an HVAC contractor that's been in business for a good amount of years, that is trusted, and that is the key. Because you can get an American Standard or a Trane top of the line piece of equipment. And if you have a contractor that doesn't know what they're doing, they're not following good practices in terms of the installation, it doesn't matter what equipment it is, you're gonna have problems. Now, I wanna talk about some of the things in particular that you wanna watch for with a good HVAC installation. The first of which is having a properly sized system. So you could have, again, a good piece of equipment. It's oversized for your home and it's gonna be short cycling on and off more than it should be. This can shorten the life of the compressor. It can shorten the life of the heat exchanger, and then you could be ending up replacing that equipment prematurely. The other thing is having a good seal. If someone does not install a good filter rack, maybe they just leave the old one, they do it kind of a rush job, and you have a lot of air bypassing that filter, you could end up with the whole system being trashed by dust and contaminants, not to mention that getting into your air. And this is something that I see all of the time, brand new system, and the air filter is neglected, and a lot of that air is not even being filtered, and it's getting caught in your equipment. So those are the brands that I like and dislike, and most importantly, get yourself a good HVAC contractor, and you're not going to be disappointed. Now, if you're interested in purchasing some equipment from HVAC Direct and either installing it yourself or having a contractor install it, make sure and use my discount code that's found in the video description at checkout, where you can get 3% off of your order from HVAC Direct. I also wanted to share something new that I'm really excited about, and it's our HVAC educational courses. We've specifically crafted a course that starts from the very basics. If you don't know anything about HVAC and you want to learn more about it, and we walk you through how a system works, how you can diagnose certain things, how you can size things. We even talk about how to get your EPA certificate so that you can purchase and handle refrigerant. All of those things are included in our course for $24.99, much cheaper than any HVAC course you're going to purchase. And you can watch these videos at your own pace on your schedule. You can find this course on our homepage of our YouTube channel. Simply click the join button right here. And as soon as you join this membership, you'll have access to all of these member-only videos. Now, if you're interested in seeing what a full air conditioning installation looks like, check out these videos right here, and I'm sure you'll find those videos informative, whether you're trying to tackle this project yourself or if you just want to get an idea of what all is involved here. Until next time, you guys be safe. Later.